Welcome back to a New Pace podcast. I'm Leslie, your host, and today we have the lovely Marc Trussell here to talk to us about all sorts of things related to his role as a fitness professional. And I'm just delighted to be able to speak to Marc today because it's been such a long time since I've spoken to him. And there's been so many things that I've found inspiring about what he's done over the years, where especially when I was involved in like the obstacle racing world and such like. So it feels really an honor to have him here. And it feels like a lot of what I feel our conversation is going to go down and what sort of things might come up fits well with the idea of stepping into a new pace and pause at creating and empowering. So hi Marc, welcome.
Hi Leslie, lovely to see you again. Always a pleasure. It's kind of we've been off and on chatting for a while now, since like the old Spartan race days. So yeah, great to be here, and thank you for inviting me on.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And when I think about Spartan and think about, it feels such a long time sort of doing Spartan for myself, but there's a real sort of sense of sort of community with that, isn't there? And I think that's something that always very nostalgic for me. So I just want to kind of, maybe we could use this as a bit of a catch-up sort of thing and just talk to the listeners about what you do, and how would you describe what it is that you do and how you help people?
Well, I'm a qualified personal trainer. Previously, my previous guises have been Spartan SGX coach, Crossfit coach, Movnat coach, which is natural movement. So now I kind of concentrate more on one-to-one coaching, both on a physical and a mental aspect.
Right.
I mean, I've kind of got a multitude of clients, ranging from people in their kind of 60s who just want to kind of just keep moving, to people who have come back from having children and want to kind of get more into kind of like the endurance element, to a Ironman triathlete and a triple Ironman triathlete who's 62. So
Ooh.
a smorgasbord of clients, I'd say.
Yeah. So you said about endurance, like how would you, because there's so much that goes with that and so many questions that, like, how do you imagine that would be for some people doing such long races? But when you think about endurance in itself, what comes up for you? What does that mean?
I mean, I think it can be. I think the mental aspect is bigger than the physical aspect.
Okay.
I think on that as well, hard work beats kind of talent in terms of kind of being naturally good at it. I found that myself personally. And the fact that it can be anything. I mean, it can be anything from a 5K to a 50K to a 50 mile to 100 mile. I think. I don't really think it's quite difficult to explain, but I don't really think there's that much difference in it. In terms of, you've just got to be kind of mentally, Leslie, mentally ready to go out and do that distance, for example. And it's a case of just time on feet and being mentally prepared to get through it, because there's going to be tough times, whatever the distance.
Yeah. So that anticipation that regardless of what the body's doing, the mind is in charge, and the mind, you hear things about actually our body often wants to stop, but then our mind kind of can keep us going.
Yeah, definitely. I think the mind's gonna. Yeah, I mean, if you're in a mentally good place, you're gonna be in a bad place as well. But if you're in a mentally good place to do stuff, then you're gonna keep going. It's kind of as a quote from kind of a guy that I follow from a previous gym, Jim Jones in Salt Lake City. The mind is primary. So that's the kind of the ethos that I kind of try and live by.
Yeah, and these people that you say are, coming back from their life in or whatever's happened, is there a difference in how you might work with them, or what their mindset might be like when they're coming back and kind of having that return, compared to someone that's just kept going?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, you've got to kind of put yourselves in their shoes in terms of why they're. I think it's the big one is the why they're coming back. and what they want to achieve? Is it a case of have they got a kind of, they're kind of, you know, they've kind of, I mean, for example, one of my clients has kind of had, you know, 3 children and feel like now they kind of just want to come back and just get themselves fit again. And from getting themselves fit again, you've kind of got an element of, okay, well, I've got myself fit, so what do I do now? I mean, I always try and think that whatever kind of stage somebody's at, it's all very well being fit, that's great, but I think you need to have something. You need to have like an end goal, some sort of event, whether it be park run, whether it be a marathon or anything like that, whatever it is, you need to have an end goal to work towards, because sometimes I find that you kind of can get lost in that kind of, you just going through the motions in terms of getting fit again. So which is nothing wrong with that, but I'd always suggest have an end goal, have an end game.
Yeah, because it sounds like maybe that there's a lot of people that do fitness for the benefits of health.
Absolutely.
And actually there's a real kind of reality of that, of, you know, like physical activity and working out, kind of healthy habits, and how that's really beneficial generally for health. Yeah. However, it's like, I know when I've been training for races and things like that, or doing races, not necessarily always training for them, but doing races, that kind of that race is really important.
Yeah, definitely.
And that race is, and I'm hearing you saying about people that are doing Ironmans and like big endurance events like that. And how do people actually get to that point where they go, okay, well, I'm going to just go and do an Ironman?
Well, I mean, from I think it's not a kind of I don't think it's kind of it's not a kind of certain type of people. It can be anybody at all. I mean, in terms of kind of my journey, it was a case of I went through a kind of a bit of a breakup, came back and wanted to kind of make myself proud again. So yeah. I kind of, and my partner at the time as well. And so I signed up for a 10K, and that was it. I just signed up for a 10K. I thought, with 6 miles, there's no way I could do that. That's crazy. Yeah. Trained for the 10K, got quite, you know, really enjoyed it. And then from that point, it was a case of kind of running alongside. I had a kind of an idea of wanting to do some sort of triathlon or something like that. I just like the thought of it. You know, it wasn't the kind of the race itself. I think it was all the gear. It was all the kind of the wetsuit and all the bike and all that, and all the gear, no idea sort of thing. So from that, that was kind of a long running along the sidelines. Then I went from 10K to half marathon. Half marathon was fine, and then at that point I signed up for London, got a charity place, did London, and that was kind of the marathon box tick for me. From that, then I was kind of looking at triathlon, but I thought, well, hold on a second, this marathon is just the end of the triathlon, and you've got to do these 2 disciplines in order to get there. So how am I going to get there? Yeah. So from that point, I kind of got carried away a little bit with the kind of the idea of an Ironman. I mean, I think the initial thing was I just wanted the tattoo. I wanted the tattoo on my leg. I mean, that was a big point, you know, for me. So from there, did a series of middle distance. Then I did and then from there I went to half Ironman, booked an Ironman. And then I was kind of training with a triathlon club where my friend who I coached today, he's 62, he was kind of a big member of it, that, you know, that kind of thing. So we kind of got friends. We did Nice, we did Ironman Nice, which was, I did Ironman Austria. Then we did Ironman Nice, was amazing. And then from that point, it kind of got to a point where I kind of got more interested. I was still interested in Ironman, but it was just kind of more the endurance thing. So it was like, well, how about kind of going over the marathon distance and going to 50 miles? How about that? And so I thought, okay, me and another friend Marc, we did a 50 miler, and then we did Nice Ironman. But then my friend had a crazy idea that he was going to do a double Ironman.
Okay.
So he did a double Ironman, which was 4.8 mile swim, 224 miles on the bike, and 52-mile run.
That just doesn't comprehend in my brain. Like, no, I'm trying to kind of,
it didn't in mine either.
Unbelievable.
So he was at a point where he needed support for it, in terms of he was just going to do it. It was in Lichfield in Midlands, so he was just going to do that. And then he said, "Well, do you want to support? Will you support me?" So it was basically a very low key event. We had a kind of a tent as a base. It was in a school playground. So I got so carried away with the whole event. It was absolutely incredible. It was kind of beyond. I would say it was kind of beyond the racing element. If you can kind of, it was all very mentally kind of.
Oh,
it was all mental. So I did it the next year. So I did the double Ironman the next year, which was a great experience and he supported me for it. But then the next year he decided to go for a triple Ironman.
Wow.
And then it got to a point where I couldn't support him. I couldn't support him for that, because I was going to a friend's 40th. So he went and did that. Took him all weekend. So I think with the longer events like that, it's less racing, and it's just more one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
Because you can't really race it. There were people racing it, but I think the distance is just basically so magnificently big. It was a case of, well, you just got to get it out there, and you know what, it's going to end at some point. It will end. So, but you just got to keep going.
Yeah. And I was really, so when you were saying about, double Ironman, triple Ironman, like in my head, I'm thinking someone does an Ironman and then the next day they do another one, the next day do another one. You're talking about all of the swimming all stacked together, and then all the miles of the bike stacked together, and then sort of equivalent of sort of 78.6 miles or something.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, at the end.
Right? To run. Now, my mind is blown. And I suppose help me to sort of understand how somebody mentally gets through that, because I'd imagine of course someone's going to need to be super fit, but what are the sorts of things that people do to get through that, to keep that going one step ahead, keep one step at a time?
I would say, let's put it back to Ironman, okay? For example, you've got three disciplines, okay? You've got the swim, you've got the bike, you've got the run, okay? The swim is probably the kind of the least kind of, I don't know, technical aspect of it, is the fact that you're in a wetsuit, you've got buoyancy. You basically just got to find, I mean, it's very easy to say this, you just got to find some friendly feet in front of you and swim. Okay, that's fine. It's the shortest. It's my favourite discipline out of the three, because it's the shortest.
Yeah.
Okay, then you've got the big aspect, which is the bike. Now the bike's huge, because you got to get on the bike, you got to fuel on the bike. You've got kind of bunches of people cycling. You could come off the bike. You could break a chain. You could get a flat tire, and you've got all these variables that are kind of working not against you, but that's basically working against you, in terms of all these different things that can happen. And so once you got off the bike, so you just worry about the bike, and once you got off the bike, you just got to put one foot in front of the other and get around the course. There's no other variables. It's just you. It sounds a bit cliche, but it's just you and the pavement, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I think that's how I personally get through an Ironman, because once I'm off the bike, if it takes it, I can walk it, which invariably I do a lot of it. But you haven't got all these variables against you. It's basically just, you've done all this over here, so you just got to do this now. In terms of mentally prepared, you've just got I would say you've just got to see yourself finishing. Yeah. If you don't see yourself across that finish line, then it's things working against you.
Yeah. So I remember when I did my first marathon, and I saw a quote that said, "If you believe you can do it, you're halfway there."
Exactly. Exactly. It's giving me goosebumps. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, I know. I love those sorts of things are incredible. But I'm just thinking about, there were lots of people at the time saying, "Well, I couldn't run a marathon," and I was thinking, well, you do park run in sort of 25 minutes. I'm sure you could run a marathon. But I think that there was something maybe about their expectations of it, maybe wanting to do it in a certain time. And I was just like, oh yeah, I think I had 2 weeks notice. I didn't do any training. I'd done a half marathon, and just my friend kind of, oh, do you want to do this marathon? We're doing it. And we just did it.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic. When you just going to ask you a question now, when you did it, were your expectations of it different from when you started it to when you finished it?
I did it thinking, I didn't really tell anybody that I was doing it. There were people that knew I was doing a race. It was one of these laps around a reservoir, and you could do as many laps as you liked.
Yeah.
So I was saying to people, I was very low key. I was saying to people, I'm looking to do the half marathon. If I do more, it's a bonus. But then my conversations with my friend were very much like, we're going to get through it no matter what. We're going to get through it. And it was one of the hottest days of the year. It was about 30 degrees or something. There was no shade. We got chased by a ram or something. But there's so many different stories that come from those things. And I think because I was doing it with a friend, she was maybe gave me some faith that I could do it. Whereas I don't think I would have just gone by myself at that point. It's possible I might have never done. I might have done a marathon at some point, but not necessarily without the training. So there was a definite thing about the mindset and a shared mindset. And I have similar experiences with other people that I ran with where we, walking with purpose and passion and these like mantras that you kind of have in your head to keep going. And yeah, it reminds me of that, of how actually there's people that were much fitter than me, not maybe afraid to do it. And I was just like, well, if I don't finish it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect my worth, sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's fantastic. So you didn't set out to do the marathon? At what point did you think, right, okay, I'm gonna go for 26 miles?
Well, I don't know. I think I did set out to do the marathon, but I was just really shy about telling people about it. So in case it didn't work. So there was a bit of a caveat there. And I don't think that there were laps, and you could drop out at any point and you'd be safe. You won't be stranded in the middle of Hertfordshire or something. But I was partly thinking, I can't remember exactly, but I was partly thinking I'll just go along and see how it goes. And partly thinking, well, yeah, if I do it, even bonus sort of thing. But it was just taking each lap at a time. And I think there was a time where maybe around mile 16 where I was thinking, this is just ridiculous.
Yeah, good.
And thinking, why are we doing this? We've got another 10 miles to go. And it just feels like we're going round and round in circles. And at that point, we started to look more carefully at things around us. So we were going round, I think each loop was about 3 miles or something. And there are a lot of people that say things like, I'd never do laps. It's just painfully boring and I can't keep going with it. And we had a different mindset because we were saying, what else can we see every time we go past this? And we were saying, oh, this is the bit where the sheep ran after us. Oh, there isn't a sheep here. And we just made it into a bit of a game, really.
Yeah.
So is that the sort of thing that you see a lot?
Yeah. I mean, but I think the beauty of that is the fact that you can still remember that.
Oh, yeah.
You can kind of, so it's kind of, it's kind of, imprinted in there, which is great, which is all part of it, which is all part of basically just kind of looking back on it.
Oh, yeah.
I think as well, just to your point, Leslie, in terms of you were doing it with somebody else. Now it's this is kind of a bit of a kind of, you don't tell this other person, but this is kind of this is purely kind of selfish way of getting through things. Is the fact that I had this conversation with somebody the other week who was doing Race to the Stones,
right?
And again, this was 50 mile. I think it was 50 mile. 100k, 62 miles.
Okay, yeah, I was just gonna ask how much long it is.
Yeah, so she was. I was talking to her about it. I was saying, look, what you do is you basically, it's almost like taking souls. It's like if that person's struggling, don't tell them, but you kind of, it really sounds really bad, but it's all in your head, not in theirs. You kind of feed off them.
Yeah.
Because you're in a better position than them, and so it takes your mind off the pain that you're feeling.
Yeah.
And you're basically looking after them.
Yeah.
Do you get that?
Yeah. I totally get it. And I think that's probably, like, I've ran with lots of people who I have helped in different ways, whether it's been their first marathon and I've maybe not necessarily been massively fitter than them, but then they've not done it before. So I've kind of almost had that training their mindset.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
To keep going, like those pep talks to somebody else becomes a pep talk to me.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh yeah, we keep going. Oh, it's this corner, and you give things different names, and you can make things interesting by giving things names. And we're going through this thing. I can't remember a lot of the names. Oh, we had something we called a path the M25 at one point because it was just really, really busy going through this narrow little thing. And it was just really packed. There was lots and lots of people trying to overtake. And we're back on the M25. And it was just, I think that was a different race. But can't remember where that was exactly. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just anything that gets you through mentally. I think it can be anything. I mean, and if you're if we're kind of talking about people who are kind of just like we were kind of discussing in terms of kind of starting, not starting, coming back from injury or something like that, getting back into it, wherever it is, the most difficult thing is getting out the door, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's just getting out the door. It's like once you're out the door's behind you. And it's like, okay, well, it doesn't matter what I do now. I'm going to do something, but it doesn't really how far I go. Okay, I'll go to the end of the road, see how that feels. So you go to the end of the road, that feels good. I'll go a bit further, and then before you know it, you've kind of done a mile or so or something like that. It's kind of, and you're feeling the benefit. I would say I'm full of cliches today, but the only bad workout is one you
bring him on.
Yeah. So the only bad workout is one you didn't do, I think.
Yeah. And I made an art video the other day saying that the only bad piece of art is the piece of art you didn't do. Off the back of that,
it's exactly the same.
It's the same. Yeah,
definitely.
And I suppose it can be really like taking that first step can feel really huge for some people, and then actually then it can feel like, oh, that was really silly. Why did I not do that earlier? And I feel a bit like I'm in that position now, having, getting back in and getting back to the gym and doing different things, but not necessarily, I haven't done a race for a long time. And so I had surgery last February and I've been doing bits and pieces. And in the lead up to surgery, my health wasn't great. I had a lot of bad anemia and things. So I've done lots of things where I sort of lean into it a little bit and then lean in and out. And actually attempted park run about 5 times in the last, since the pandemic, let's say.
Yeah.
And I get so far and then it's like, no. So there's something maybe there about, this could be advice for lots of people, could be relevant for this. So say if you kind of got this, getting past that sort of hurdle, good at starting, but then not necessarily able to keep going and push further and have that momentum. What tips would you offer somebody like me or like somebody else that's at that point where they might dabble with things?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I would take for tips in terms of that. So, okay, let's go. Let's just do for you personally then, shall we?
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay, good. So, so you've done you've done park run, but you're kind of just not doing it consistently.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm getting to the point where I'm fed up of saying things like, in the past, I've done all of this. And I could say things like, oh, I've done 17 marathons. And they're like, oh, well, that's amazing. Yeah, but I can barely run a mile now. And yeah, I'll do park run. I've booked in to do park run for this Saturday. And it tends to be sort of run/walk.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of times when I find that there's been a lot of times where I've just been exhausted, health-wise. So it's maybe having something like the timing of this, of us speaking today is really good because I've got 90 days until my birthday in October. So actually, if I was to consider that to be a plan to be have some consistency and have really work on my mindset, do those cliches, do those pep talks, things like that. What can someone achieve in 90 days, for instance?
Well, you got a good 3 months. So, for you, a park run, you're going to do a park run, but I think it's all very well doing a park run, but you're doing it, but I don't really think you're finding it a challenge in terms of kind of the distance, really. I mean, it's kind of, Is that fair to say, or is it a case of?
Yeah, the actual, like, doing it as actually running. So historically, when I did these long races, I would sort of run/walk.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
There'd be a lot of that, and I feel a bit similar now, that I would still have that run/walk thing, and there's maybe something about getting that mojo back of having something that feels exciting. Because it's having that sort of excitement. Because when I first started parkrun, there was very much things about doing the alphabet and doing all, like, there was lots of things that were quite different.
Yeah, you kind of got park run tourism, haven't you, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean it turns it into a bit of a game, doesn't it? I mean, which is great, which is I enjoy. But if you got 3 months and you're already doing 3 miles, how about say booking something like an autumn race in October, maybe a 10K, something like that.
Yeah, that would work.
Now you're not down here anymore, are you?
I'm up in Leeds.
You're in Leeds,
West
right,
Yorkshire.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, we do have this.
We got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, standalone 10K, for example. That's kind of big race down here. So that'd be a good one. But maybe like a 10K race. I think you could quite easily train for a 10K in 3 months.
Yeah,
I would say just to kind of challenge, because I think you've done the park run thing. I mean, have the park run as part of your training.
Yeah.
But don't let it be the be all and end all. I would say that go for a 10K and just see where a 10K would lead you. Now, with that one, the kind of the running, walking is great. I mean, you've kind of got what do you do? Do you do it structured, or do you do like fartlek, or do you kind of just?
Yeah, probably more of probably less structured.
Okay.
I used to, so when I was little and, growing up, I was in sort of guides. So we always did like Scouts pace of run 20, walk 20. And so before they had like all the Jeffing things I was going to say timed running and walking, I would naturally do that. So I'd maybe run to a lamppost or something like that. And it would maybe be, more informal. But I think in some ways having a bit more structure is maybe what I need rather than what I want. And there's maybe a difference with that of striving to be more disciplined.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I did, for example, I hadn't trained for it, but there was a night marathon in April in Letchworth, next town for me. And it was 16 loops of 1.6 miles.
Yeah. Wow.
So what worked for me was basically running the flat, walking the uphill, going a little bit farther on the downhill, and that worked perfectly. It just worked. It didn't, but nothing. But then I knew exactly at what point, if it was a loop, I knew exactly at what point. A bit like you with that kind of with the loops, you knew exactly at what point you're going to walk and at what point you're going to run.
Yeah.
So I would also, I mean, I could say whatever the terrain. If you just promise yourself you're going to walk hills, you're going to run on the flat, and you're going to run a little bit faster downhill.
Yeah,
that would always help as well.
Yeah, and I always say run when there's a camera.
Yeah, run with the smile when there's a camera.
Smile and run when there's a camera. Do your jazz hands.
Yeah, exactly. All that. Yeah. I mean, there was kind of that always used to be a case of Spartan. I'd always say to everybody, just smile and thank the volunteers. Because so many people would run past them and just not acknowledge them at all and stuff like that.
Oh, I know it's such a shame that happens so much, because I'm always so grateful for volunteers, and volunteers and marshaled at so many different races over the years that I will know what it's like, and I enjoy doing that. And I notice the difference when you've got different people that just don't even notice you, that don't even recognize you, seem invisible sometimes.
No, exactly. Exactly, and that's kind of very demoralizing to be on the other side of that. So I mean,
go on.
I was just going to say, how would looking now, 90 days time, how would a 10K look to you in terms of training wise? Have you got the kind of, is it something you'd want to do? Have you got?
Yeah. So I think if I was doing a 10K, what I'd want to do is to run as much of it as possible. That would be sort of an aim. I feel like I could get round a 10K anyway, walking. and sort of run walk, that if I had that this weekend, I could do that. But I don't think that would tick the box of really achieving something. So something, and I think in 3 months, 10K feels good. If I was to run maybe 3/4 of it, that would fit well for me. And if I could sprint finish, that would fit well for me as well.
Fantastic, yeah.
Because to me, no matter how, like, whatever pace, how steady you go through a run, if you sprint finishing, then you ran it, sort of thing.
Yeah,
achieved it. And something that just feels like maybe nice countryside to kind of look around.
Okay.
Yeah. So I can look up one and see.
Yeah, I would say I would just say, as I said at the start, I think it's a lot easier when if you are training, if you have got an end goal in mind, then that always helps. You know, that always helps. That kind of spurs you on, because you've got to train. In terms of, if you're not doing anything, you think, oh, you know what, I'm not going to do it because I've got nothing to train for. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I miss this, if I miss this session, and then if you miss the session, you're going to miss more sessions, and it's a case of training really is a case of 2 steps back, 1 step forward.
Yeah.
You just got to get ahead of the curve with it, because it'll always kind of catch you up.
Yeah.
Even when you're looking at if you're looking at your Garmin or something like that, and for example you're running and then you're walking, which is great, your pace is going to go down. So it's kind of, but it's like you're always kind of constantly chasing that pace.
Yeah. And keep kind of seeing. We used to do a thing where you'd see somebody in front. It's similar to what you said about maybe like feeling a bit awful for comparing how you're doing with somebody else that might be struggling, because you can keep yourself going. You can go, I'm doing all right, keep going, because I'm, I don't need a defibrillator just yet. I'm all right. I'm breathing. And that's a bit, obviously that's extreme, but that idea of kind of catching somebody, lassoing them, and then overtaking them, you're like, yeah, like that.
Yeah. It's almost like it's almost like Death Eaters, that sort of thing. You're taking a soul, you basically just, as you said, like reeling them in and using their energy.
Yeah. And I'm just sort of think how many people have done that to me when I've been sort of plodding along in a race, and actually like thinking, I've never really seen it that way before, but I've seen it like now as, actually, I've really done a massive service for them. So when people have overtaken me and they've seen me as someone that they've just reeled in and gone like, oh, I've kept them going. So actually me still walking in a race has actually been motivating for somebody else. And that for me feels like a good mindset, because rather than stopping, then keeping going serves 2 purposes. I'm still moving, and I'm there sort of as an anchor for somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just on a kind of a different level, when we're talking a kind of about mindset. I mean, I've got a guy that I coach. He's 56. He's. I mean, he just went from kind of 5 years ago starting triathlon, and he's Ironman triathlete now. But he kind of, I've got where I live, I've got a little barn, and I coach him there in the gym, and he's got little things where he won't kind of. He's got these mantras where I haven't got a bell in there, but he'll say, I won't ring the bell. But I don't know where the bell is, but in his mind he's got this bell that he won't ring. Yeah. And he's also got a chair in the corner of the gym, and he says, don't sit, and I won't sit on the chair. If I sit on that chair, I'm done for. And basically that's his mindset to get him through the hour.
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite, I mean, my kind of coaching is quite, it's not kind of, it's quite mentally challenging coaching. So it's kind of, but that's how he kind of gets through it. And he really loves to be really pushed. And so when he's kind of on the run of an Ironman or something like that, he'll relate it. He said, is this worse than one of my sessions? And if it isn't, then he'll keep going.
Okay.
But if it is, he feels like he's in trouble.
Right.
But that's how he approaches. I mean, I don't really do anything different, but that's how he approaches. That's his kind of, my training methodology, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Because that makes me think of the idea of train hard, race easy.
Exactly. Yeah. So, there you go. I was going to say that one.
Oh, okay. Can you elaborate on what that would mean then for somebody, especially if you're doing sort of really hardcore training?
Yeah.
And it can feel like maybe, maybe feeling kind of, I've got to keep going with this because I've got to trust that. Yeah, what's train hard, race easy mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of, based on that, I've got 2 on there. I'm going to bore you with another one now.
It's not boring. This is interesting.
It's another one. It's another one that it's another one that I live by. When I had when I was in marketing, when I was in marketing, my boss was she's very good. She's very good marketeer, and the job involved a lot of presenting for the sales force, and it was a case. And she said to me, "Get comfortable with being uncomfortable." And that has always stuck with me. And this kind of works well with the train hard, race easy thing. It's the fact that if you're comfortable in that uncomfortable position, then you're fine. As long as you can kind of dial in that discomfort and work with that discomfort, then you're fine. And in terms of kind of how you get yourself there is is in order to kind of train hard, make the training more difficult than the event.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if
when
I'm
you get
going
to the event, it should be quite easy.
So if I was going for a 10K and wanting to sort of run as much as I can, what sort of, like, would it be about me doing a longer distance thing as part of the training, or is it more about maybe a bit of a mixture, maybe doing sort of more running as part of the training, making things hard for me?
I would think you've kind of, you want to get to a position, Leslie, where you're kind of, where you're feeling like you are being challenged, but you don't want to go too hard that you think, I'm not doing that again, and then you stop.
Yeah.
That's the big danger, I think. I don't think you're not gonna get to a point where you're gonna hurt yourself, but it's gonna be a case of, I'm not going there again. That was horrible. So I would say a mixture of the two. I would kind of work out how long you think it's going to take you to do, for example, for a 10K, I would work out how long it would take you to do 10K, and then go over that time.
Yeah.
So if you think you can do it, if you think you could do it in an hour, then you go out for an hour and a half. Now that hour and a half doesn't matter what, you wouldn't do that all the time. You would do that maybe a week before, something like that, 10 days before. It doesn't matter how long you're out for. It doesn't matter how much you're running, how much you're walking. It just means you just need to kind of condition yourself to have time on feet. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect of it. That's the kind of the long element, and then you've kind of got these kind of shorter bits that you can maybe like do in the week, where you might run. I don't know. You might run a mile. You might base it on a 10K. So you might run a mile. No, sorry, base it on a 10K. So base it on a 5K. Sorry. So you're running, I don't know, 3 miles. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you're doing 3 miles, timing it. And then you're basically going out for that time as well, to try and beat that time rather than the distance. So it kind of just puts different kind of emphasis on what you're training for. Is it time, or is it different, or is it distance? Because although the two are the same, mentally they're different.
So time on your feet could be like, I would see that as maybe going for a hike as well as not necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that always helps.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say that, and then kind of even kind of with the kind of the, you know, the kind of the Jeff Galloway element of kind of 10 minutes on, 2 minutes off. That always works. Or 9-1. 9-1's always a favourite. 9-minute run, 1 minute walk. Yeah. Because you basically it's like self-reward. Where if you're running, and if you can constantly keep that pace up, that's great. But if you're kind of running, you're kind of right. Okay, I just need a minute. Then you just having a minute walk, and that means a hell of a lot. And you're not really going to lose much pace if you're just walking for a minute.
Yeah. So running for sort of 9 minutes, and then like have that scheduled walk.
Yeah, exactly. A scheduled walk.
Yeah, that sounds really different. Like a maybe different way of thinking about it than running for as long as you can and then walking when you're tired, because then it's maybe walking even if you can carry on running, because that's part of the plan.
It's all part of the plan, and uphills as well.
Yeah.
I'm just very lazy. Take uphills as extra scheduled walking breaks.
Scheduled walking uphill, jazz hands to the camera.
Yeah.
And then, smile at the camera, run downhill.
That's it.
And on the
I mean,
flat.
as you said about that, it's kind of walking when you're tired. That's exactly the same as drinking when you're thirsty, because when you're thirsty, it's too late anyway. Because
Yeah.
It's the same.
And I sort of think about this, like with, the idea of taking time to pause, and how actually sometimes people pause intentionally, and sometimes people are forced to pause. Yeah. So having those like moments of mindfulness, and moments where you kind of having a bit of a rest in your training or whatever it is, rather than going flat out doing far too much and then getting injured or like really struggling emotionally with something. Because how does that fit for you?
I think that works. I mean, if we can actually kind of apply that to the acronym, the PACE.
Yeah.
So it's pause,
act, create, empower.
Okay, so yes. Okay, so let's look at both. Let's try and relate that to a 10K.
Yeah.
Okay, so pause. You've got nicely fitted. You've got the 1 minute or 2 minute break.
Yeah.
Act. How would you relate that?
I think it's about for me, that's about every step that you're taking, the physical action of taking those steps, and being like the action of booking the race, the action of going out and doing the training, having that plan and following it, and having little steps at a time. I see it as that.
Okay, good stuff. And what's the next one? See?
Create.
Okay, well, you kind of you're creating yourself an environment where you've got you're creating a kind of reward environment by the 1 minute walk.
Yeah.
Would that work?
Yeah. That sounds right. And it sounds like maybe like working out, maybe going, like say between now and then, well, if I'm creating or working out and creating kind of different routes to train on, or different ways of thinking about it, and different approaches that could be creative, that could be maybe tricking me to not be just dwelling on each step. So creating something, like using my imagination to imagine maybe like being in an environment that could feel more interesting, rather than say if it's a loop round a field and you're doing like 10 loops around this kilometre field, then it's creating something with that, or creating a plan. Create can fit lots of things, and I think a lot of people think creativity is purely about like art and drama, music, but often it's about problem solving, I feel. So that can maybe fit with that.
Okay, and the empowerment is the fact that you're actually doing it. You're actually putting the whole of the 3 previous steps in place.
Yeah.
And the fact that I guess you're in control. So it's.
Yeah. There's something really to be said, isn't there, about taking those steps and like trusting that it's going to work out, and feeling like visualizing the end sort of thing, which you said
absolutely.
Before,
said that.
You said that before about believing that you can do it. You're halfway there, and for those people that are doing triple Ironman, just being able, like, I can't imagine how that might feel, kind of coming to the end of a race like that, an event like that. That just feels mind-blowing. But the same sort of thing can be felt from doing a 1 mile walk, or even a 10-minute walk to the shops if you haven't done anything for a long time.
I think it doesn't matter what the distance is, really. It's just for the fact you have to get yourself in that headspace in order to realize that you're doing it. But for example, a 1 mile or a 1 mile or a 5K. I mean, it's a case of, okay, I'm going to run 1 mile. You know when when it's going to stop, and you know when it's going to, and you're going to finish. Same as a 5K. You know when, and it will stop. It will stop at one point. So it's just getting yourself in, realizing realizing in your head that how long you are prepared to be out. And I think the longer the distance, you don't think about the distance, you think about the time.
Yeah.
Or you break it down into time. You break it down into kind of manageable time chunks, because 28 hours is too much for me anyway, too much for your head to actually comprehend.
Yeah. Oh, that's far too much to see as one chunk. But that idea of how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? It's like, well, yeah,
Exactly.
we do all of these things one step at a time. And even if it's, I suppose, like that first marathon that I did, I kind of had this caveat to people that I wasn't really going to do it, but I wanted to do it. But it was just like, it was protective for me not to go sharing about it. And because it was a small marathon, I sort of didn't need to do that. So it made it more fun, actually, and it made it more sort of like unique.
Yeah, I think so. And I think as well is the fact that, especially with these big events, especially like if it, like for example, for a marathon or whatever is big for you, it's a case of, with kind of social media, everybody knows what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's a case of, I think it makes it more special when you don't advertise what you're doing. Afterwards, you can. There's a guy you can kind of look up called Mike. I don't know if you've heard of Michael Easter.
Okay, no, I'll jot his name down.
Yeah, jot him down. He does. It's, I can't remember. I kind of probably post. You put it in the notes. But he does kind of. It's a Japanese word for an event that you're not. I can't remember what it is, but it's a big event, and and there's an element of failure in there, but you're not allowed to say what it is. But you can say about it afterwards, and I think that means a lot. In terms of like that event, I did I did the midnight event. I didn't really advertise the fact that I was doing it much. I did it for charity, but I didn't kind of post or anything like that.
Yeah.
I only kind of just put a finishing picture at the end, and it was more special the fact that it wasn't. I didn't hugely advertise it and look at me on social media and check me out, that sort of thing, because I think that's huge now, because everybody knows what you're doing and people are.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, it's kind of, people kind of push the fact that they've entered the London Marathon, and they haven't actually, they've entered the ballot. But I mean, that's a big thing, but I suppose that is a big thing. It's London, but yeah, I would kind of that kind of element of kind of just keeping it to yourself is pretty special. It's a different sort of
yeah.
It's more personal, I think.
Yeah. It's just working out maybe the reasons for that, and like the intentions for that, because I think sometimes it can be out of fear of, well, actually, if I don't tell anyone and it doesn't come about, if I don't finish, I've not lost anything, or I've not, my how people see me might not change. Or other times it might just be that, well, it was so last minute that you didn't even like sort of know. Like when I did London and people were seeing me on TV and they didn't even know I was doing it.
It's like, fantastic.
Oh, I'm running across, I'm running like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's excellent. And I think as well, there is that kind of element of, when you're saying about it, it's I can't think of the word, but it's the fact that if you do put it out there, you say I'm doing this, it's the fact that there is that positive aspect of, on the flip side, that you have to do it because you've told everybody that you're going to do it.
Yeah, like that accountability.
Accountability, that's exactly the word. That's the word.
Yeah. And I suppose it's getting to that point of knowing that you're going to do it and having that conviction within to be able to share that with people, to say, or you might share it with a few people and say, we're doing this, I'm looking to do this, and then share it with the masses and it becomes real. You're like,
yeah, definitely.
Okay, now, if that's motivation to get the training done, then that's a really good reason to share. If it becomes something that becomes scary, that you're having to please other people by doing, it might not be a race that's aligned with you, or it might not match what you want to do, or your like health issues and things might get in the way, then it's maybe questioning. I think it's questioning, are you sharing that for your ego or for a different purpose sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe you and I are kind of like similar in that aspect, where if you look at if we look at kind of the first founding elements of obstacle racing, where we kind of met, in terms of basically where people were kind of looking at, especially like something like, you know, the tough guy.
Yeah.
That was the founding race, which I was a huge fan of. I absolutely adored it. My favourite race in the world. It was a case of, I mean, there were kind of finishes and stuff like that, but not as much as is now. But it was a case of, what did you do the weekend? You're showing somebody a picture of you just covered in mud in a freezing field in the West Midlands, and it was like, that's what people wanted to do. They wanted to do something different, and it kind of found its tribe, didn't it? And it was tribe found it, and it was a certain sort of person that would actually do it, and it was kind of,
I got to say, it is a favourite race. I did it once, and it was like jam packed. I don't think I did it all, because we got diverted past a certain place because of like how the race was being organised and how many people there were. And it was just, it was freezing cold. It was January. It's always freezing cold.
Always freezing cold. It's always extra cold that weekend.
For
some reason. I don't know why.
But it's just amazing. I'm so glad that I had the chance to do that. Yeah. And actually, it always makes me think about, you know, the journey and the being part of it, not necessarily the destination and the time that you take to do something. So, yeah.
It was always, I mean, it was a kind of, I think I got into that after during the marathon training. It was something that, I think it was something that scared that, because it was all very kind of secretive, and there wasn't much social media then. There wasn't that much about it, and everything was it was quite secret. Nobody knew much about this mythical character that Mr. Mouse that would run it. And you would apply for it, and you would get these random pamphlets through that had just been written for, don't know how they were written, but they were just through the post, and it was great. But then it kind of got that kind of, and then it kind of got involved with Tough Mudder, because the guy who ran Tough Mudder took the idea from him.
Sure.
And then there was a big kind of challenge between the two of them. Then it got onto TV, and it was great. It was just so good.
Yeah. It's good, isn't it? And it's that kind of thing that I find myself saying things. I was saying things like this about Spartan, that it's like, I was doing it back then, before all of that. And there's something like, why would that matter for me to share that? It's like, my first Spartan was 2012 or something like that, before it got kind of really commercial, before people really knew about it, sort of thing. And I think it's part of that community. There's something about that sense of belonging and that sense of community that kind of, I've got all my hoodies and everything. Still got a Spartan hoodie from about 10 years ago that I wear regularly. It's like a volley one, I think. But it's interesting how we want to kind of, like, those memories are so strong of those races, like you commented earlier, and that's why it's so powerful. So I wonder what it would be like to approach a race, reverse engineer it to 10 years time, and looking back to the time now that I did it, because I've never seen it that way before, where I've looked like, I've looked back at races that I've done now, like in the past, but not imagined how I would feel in 10 or 20 years time, and how my memories would be.
I'd say, I mean, it's nostalgia, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's nostalgia. It isn't what it used to be. Nostalgia isn't what it used to be.
Yeah. So if you had just like one, I don't know, a phrase or a mantra or a tip or something to encourage people to take that first step, or to keep going, or whatever it is, what would you say?
I would say, initially, I would just say, just the hardest bit is getting out the front door. I would say, I think that's what I do say to clients, all friends who want to kind of get into it, is the fact that it is that kind of, it's almost like that kind of couch to 5K. It's the same thing. It's just like sitting from a couch doing a 5K, which is a great methodology, and it's a case of just from that couch, just getting out the front door. If you're planning on going out in the morning, which most people do, they probably would do before work or before kind of, you know, the kids are up or something like that. Get everything ready, Leslie. Get everything ready. It's like exactly the same as race day. You get everything ready the night before. Trainers by the door, or your running gear, you know, your PE kit, all ready there, because you don't want anything to stop you putting that kit on and getting out the door. Because it's like, if it's a case of, if you can't find your socks, you think, oh, sorry, I can't find, where's my socks? You know what? Sorry, I can't find them. I've missed my slot now. I'm gonna leave it.
Yeah.
So the less variable that you've got that'll stop you doing that, the better.
Yeah. Make that habit easy.
Make the habit easy and limit the excuses as much as possible.
Yeah. That sounds really good, and it sounds in some ways easier said than done. But then the more, what I'm hearing as well, and what I'm imagining, is the more that you do that, the more like simple it is. That actually,
yeah, exactly, yes. Happens. Simple. Another one. Simple, not easy. There you go.
Simple, not easy. It's like, yeah, some things are like needing to do the hard thing, but it makes it easy in the long run.
Definitely.
So, yeah, this has been great. So, and I think like it feels like there's lots of things that so many people at different levels can kind of gain from this.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. So how might people find you if they wanted to sort of catch up with you, or like?
I'm mainly I'm contactable mainly on Instagram now. So go Marc _PT. You can put the address in the notes. And, they can usually find me there. I've kind of gone away from the kind of the website element because people don't really go on websites anymore, and people are more kind of social media based. So go Marc PT.
Yeah, super duper. And I'm sure there'll be lots of people that are inspired to get out and take that first step. After today, I certainly am.
Yeah, I hope so. And anything I can do, Leslie, to help, let me know.
Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna be researching what races to enter.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hey, always a pleasure. Great to catch up with you.
That's brilliant. So thank you everyone for listening to this episode. It feels like there's lots of actionable steps as well as thought-provoking ideas. And so I'd be curious about like what you've taken from today and what sort of things you might do in response to this. So thanks for listening and take care. See you soon.
Cheers, guys. All the best.
Bye.